All right, I believe we're live, and it even gave me a chance to take a shave because I noticed in my last video I had some 5 o'clock shadow. All right, so a few introductions. My name is Jay. I am the owner of sectionconsulting.com. We work with clients around 500 to 1,000 a year, and we do so to help people with housing-related issues to Section 8, so federal programs, policies, procedures, federal code, so on. In the circumstance of this video, we're going to be addressing emergency housing and the emergency housing voucher because a lot of you have heard different things and you have the wrong idea. It's simply not how the system works, and it's not at present. The system that's in place is not going to last forever. So this video will be a part 1 of part 2, and I have to do it that way because video format requires to be able to show you. I'm going to have to make a separate video to do that. So emergency housing voucher, all of this rolls under one thing, and that is a federal program called Continuum of Care. That Continuum of Care program allows the workers to ask questions rather than give you an application. And if you give the correct answers, you will be able to qualify for the program itself. So now Continuum of Care program has a testing metric, which is called SPDAT or SPDAT. That SPDAT is the service prioritization decision tool, which is used to assess those that are out there that could be facing potential homelessness or already homeless. So many of you could qualify just on the basis of how your life is going at present if you're at some type of imminent risk, okay? Now, there's a few things we should assert when considering the Section 8 voucher and its program. Look, there's lots of things that apply the word emergency or even immediate and now. That's what everybody's looking for online. I can see it on Google when I do the search. Even Google search indicates people looking for that. Give me a voucher right flipping now, today. Look, that does not exist, okay? There is no voucher on the planet or in this universe or any parallel universe in which you just decide you're going to roll up the mattress at noon, roll down there, give them a sob story, and they're just simply going to print out a voucher. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of that concept. Number 2, the emergency housing voucher and testing through SPDAT was designed originally 20 years ago, and some housing authorities have it, some do not. For the most part, that program has been removed from most housing authorities and has now been put with nonprofits to make those decisions. In other words, churches, homeless shelters, Catholic charities, and so on now train people with the service prioritization tool, decision tool, and including the program they use above that, which is called HIMS, which is the Homeless Management Information System. So we have a lot of acronyms going on here, but each part plays a fundamental role. And when you give your answers, these different things are at play. So as a recap, the emergency housing voucher is going to be an assessment, not an application. An assessment means a conversation in person or by phone. For most of you, it's preferred you go in person. Number 2, they're going to be using SPDAT, SPDAT, or one of the many variations throughout the nation to assess you. When you give those answers, that is plugged into, and your information is plugged into what they call HMIS, which is a Homeless Management Information System. Now, I know the word homeless has popped up a lot already in this video, but let's make one thing very clear. You do not need to be living under a bridge on the sidewalk in order to qualify for this. Many of you are already throwing up your hands. Oh, well, how the hell am I supposed to get that? I'm not homeless. I'm not having a cold beer under the bridge. What do you mean? And second thing I want to spell, you don't need to live in a homeless shelter. Many of these programs will have you believe that. My job is to dispel those type of rumors and keep you from doing and considering stupid things. Look, many of you watch my videos, and many of you know how long I've been doing this. 26 years this summer. 26 years. You'd be a fool to believe everything a housing authority and its employees will tell you. You'd be a greater fool to believe everything they would imply through this program too. Okay? Most of these programs, including housing authorities and Continuum of Care, they're trained in such a way that most people don't have the inside information that they have. So you go along with whatever they tell you because that's all you know. Well, I'm going to teach you better than that. It doesn't have to work the way they say it does. It only has to work the way the federal law prescribes that it should when they introduced the program, introduced the funding. But the last thing and the most critical is, I'll say there's two more things we should cover before we discuss the assessment, the application, as y'all call it, or the assessment. Number one, there is more than one type of emergency housing voucher. Through the pandemic, there were pandemic level emergency housing vouchers, 72,000 to be precise, many of which got squandered. Number two, there is a standard emergency housing voucher that sometimes even housing authorities still actually administrate for, but most times it's going through nonprofits. And the final thing, the emergency housing voucher is ending. It's already been published. They're ending that. They mostly see it as an absolute failure. I probably contributed to that, running through so many people through it, but it just means that I was more than happy to help wear out that system and help people actually get it. Probably I've been targeted more consultant for introducing a program and system out there to people that shouldn't have known about it, thus flooding it. But that was the point. Don't offer something if you don't fucking mean to offer it to people. So I made that very real. And for that, I have received plenty of, let's say, less than colorful commentary from housing authorities and continuum of care programs that don't like my desire to publish what they'd rather you didn't know. They like you to be at their mercy. They like for you to be indentured and to keep you as ignorant as possible. I have removed their ability to do that by publishing these videos. Now, though it's ending, I still encourage you guys to continue on your path to receive an emergency housing voucher if you believe that you need it. And what we're going to do is the next video I'm going to publish, which will be this afternoon, unfortunately will not be live. I can't do it live and also show you the information. So it'll be analog. We're going to go through an expedite, and I'm going to show you the questions. I'm going to tell you in the realm of the type of answers you should be given, and I'm also going to warn you about all the traps that are built into that assessment. That way you're able to actually have a fighting chance of being able to receive it. It does not mean that even with a manual, an expedite, and understanding its entirety of it is the way that I'm going to deliver it, doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to get it. If they don't have the funding, or if they have been instructed otherwise to make it where only a few, anybody could qualify, but if they make it where it's difficult to actually receive it, then some places like Los Angeles, even with all the good information I'm going to give you, it would hardly be of any benefit to you there, because you're competing in too large of a base of homeless people out in that community. So for those of you in New York and California, it's possible, but you're going to need to put in a lot more energy. You're going to need to lower your expectation, and the process is going to be hellish. Okay. The reason I'm saying it's going to be hellish is even with the good information and proper answers, they're still going to put you through a rung of bullshit to get, in order to give it to you. So those things being said, you'll be joining me this afternoon around 4:30 or 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. And I'm going to, we're going to go through expedite, SPDAT. Look, now I know a lot of you guys are going to run and try to Google this. Look, it doesn't mean you're going to have the right one. We need to make sure you have the right one and you understand fundamentally the type of answer you give. And in that video, we're also going to introduce you to where to get assessed, how to get assessed, how to fill out their application, what to expect, what the outcome is going to be, and all the different variables that could or could not happen depending on the states that you're in. Okay. I can't do that in a live video because I cannot be live and also show you that information. So it kind of sucks. Now, at that video, we're also going to publish all the links. So I'm going to empower you with everything you need. One thing that's important to understand is, even when I give you the teacher's manual and all the answers to it, you don't want to go and get your assessment and then tell them, oh, by the way, I have all your manuals published. I've got them all printed out and you're going to give me a voucher today. Or page 32 says you're a liar. You should be approving me today. You go do that, you'll get yourself banned. I would advise that any of you that go through what I'm going to teach you this afternoon, that you don't go run your mouth to these people. You don't talk in their technical terms. You shouldn't even know what HMIS is. You should not know what SBDAT is. You go down there and you ring the doorbell. I'm here to take an SBDAT. They're going to know that you have way too much information on them, and they're going to block you. Okay. You need to go down there and act like you don't know anything. You start talking in the technical terms in these manuals, then you're going to get yourself in deep amount of shit, and they're not going to assess you. Okay. So it's like being a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's sad we have to play all these games, but that's what it is. We're going to unrig the game for you. But if you go and do something foolish and you don't get it, then it's your own problem. Now, with all the information provided, it has about a 98% success rate unless you demonstrate that you are so mentally ill that giving you a voucher would be a waste of time, or that you have such physical problems combined with mental health issues, or you present with drug and alcohol problems that are so severe that, again, giving you a voucher would be an absolute or fabulous waste of time. That would be the only real cause that they would likely deny this, outside of you living in a massive metropolitan area where the demand is extremely high and they actually have to put you on a waiting list for an emergency housing voucher. And that's pretty stupid. Beyond that, guys, by next spring 2026, forget about it. I'm going to publish a video in spring of 2026, the end of the emergency housing voucher. It's over with. It's already dissolved. It's already begun to start to dissolve. And to prove that, I'm going to publish direct reports from HUD and other articles regarding that matter where they have already issued to shut it down. So when the funding's gone, the last few drops of that throughout this year, then there will be no argument to an emergency housing voucher. What will they replace it with? I don't know. And let's talk about news and a little bit of politics. We're in a very, very perilous time. Many of you saw the pandemic come and go, and you've seen the trouble we dealt with through that. It was so much trouble that our office was on a 2-month wait just to speak with clients that paid for an appointment. Okay. We're reaching that level again because there's been this administration has chosen to cut funding at HUD. It's already is leading up to terminating half its staff at HUD, leaving many of their buildings to close. So a lot of HUD is being reduced by nearly half. We're expecting a big round of deficit. We were already in a deficit, so now we're looking at a negative downfall of 62,000 vouchers this year. It's a massive amount. Roughly 1/4 of all vouchers were banished this year due to funding cuts. It is a high competition this year, but these cuts are necessary because of national debt, I imagine. But let me tell you something, guys. The time of sitting on your hands and thinking about this, or thinking to yourself, well, I'll just figure this out. By the time you do, in a couple of years, you'd be in trouble. And give you some very serious advice. If you don't have the answers, then you need to reach out to either my office or another that's a consultant for Section 8 or HUD. Number 2, you need to quit sitting on your hands. 3, navigating the system is not simple. There's a reason why people go to court and hire an attorney. It's a lot to know, and you could end up in a worse situation. If you have given your best effort in the system and you've yielded or produced no result, then you need to reach out to an office. It doesn't have to be mine. You need to reach out to somebody to help you, because if this becomes progressive through this administration each year with more funding cuts, it's going to become phenomenally hard. And then we're going to see a wave of homeless people. And that's not to mention the unaddressed homelessness we already have. So, there are some very serious issues going on through all federal agencies, not just housing and HUD. Okay. We got TARPs, we got stock markets that are dropping by 1,000 points a day, all kinds of things. Whether or not I believe those things are real or not, well, we're not going to debate that because we're not here for politics. I'm just suggesting that from a government perspective, from the White House down, they are cutting these programs, and they're cutting large and massive portions of it. Now, they can do all the cuts they want now. The effect of that is not going to really hit us profoundly till next summer. So you have about a year before this gets super real. Now, after that, it is what it is. And each continuous year that they make further cuts is going to be that. All right. I'm going to address some comments here, and the goal here is not to scare or spook anybody. You need to understand what you face, and you need to be able to deal with adversity. It means challenges and difficulty. The system has always presented challenges and difficulty. This is nothing different, just a little bit of a more severe dose of it, okay? But we can't sustain these kind of deep cuts to the program over a duration of period, a period of time or a duration without causing major consequence to those that need this type of housing and vouchers. All right, moving on. Christine Gannon, good afternoon or good morning. I was hoping to have my cat in the video today, Mr. Bunny, which is actually a cat, not a bunny, but he was full of mud, and so we couldn't do that. So I published something for you guys on the channel. So I'm going to introduce another one of our wonderful cats. Look, guys, if y'all object to my commentary, extra commentary to me and my pets, then you can go to hell. You don't need to be in this channel. My cats and our animals have always been a side attraction, I guess, in our channel. My cats have a tendency to do what they like and what they wish. They've jumped in videos, even hopping the keyboard and ended some of my live videos. That's just life. If you're a pet lover, please do stay. You know, that's the way we do things. How do you say it? That's how we roll. So moving on from there, Charlene's Journey. Good afternoon and good morning. Disabled Outcasts says, what can one do when the application program is closed? If anything, is it even possible? Well, I know you're asserting it's closed. Now, I would have to disagree, but I don't know the context here, what you're saying to me. You could be referring to any number of programs. My advice there is, if you don't have a solution in place and your efforts haven't yielded a result, reach out to my office. I'm sure we can help you with the issue related to this and figure out where it is open and other potential options. Look, guys, sometimes you can't just rely on your own steam. This system is large, it's complex, and the players that are in it, including the Housing Authority and the Continuum of Care employees, these are not friendly in most cases. And, they're trained to weed out most people. I'm training you guys how to actually not get weeded out and how to navigate through that. And the videos will help to a certain degree, but at a certain point, you may actually really need a consultant to help you navigate around all the roadblocks. That is a reality sometimes. Amused Churros says, BI Espadat is what it is called in Santa Clara. Yeah. So when I say Espadat, I didn't want to add on the extra language there because we'd have to explain further, but that is correct. Santa Clara Cares BI Espadat. Now keep in mind that those BI Espadat, every PHA in America, including all Continuum of Cares, can modify that, including its answers and perspective points in which you could qualify. That's what makes it more complex for those of you that are unaccustomed to being able to beat that type of testing. BZB, I like that name. Appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you back. I appreciate your comment and joining us this morning. Amused Churros goes on to say, is there any chance to get help in Santa Clara County? Well, I think there is, but I think we should also face some realism there. You're a California resident. You're competing in a county that's has a high difficulty level. And the only way you're going to compete is with the best possible information and preparation, okay? Going in, again, guys, trying to get emergency housing voucher and thinking you're just going to walk in the front door and give them your hard luck story and maybe even get them to sympathize with you is not sufficient to get this, okay? It does not. The testing and the system does not work in a logical manner. And if you're going to address it that way, you're going to lose. And the problem with the emergency housing voucher is you will not be able to reapproach this once you do it once for another year. And in 1 year, it won't even exist. So that is a wrap. Christine Gannon goes on, 30 billion goes to rent, 20 billion goes to administration costs. Will this affect existing or just new? Well, that's a very good question. Any obligation already underwritten by the United States government and HUD has to be met. So you got a voucher and you're guaranteed those payments for rent. And anybody likely to get a voucher from now until about next spring would likely not see a big effect. But after that, anybody attempting vouchers with these sharp budget cuts will likely be affected. And they're not going to grant the voucher and then have to worry about whether they can pay it. They're just simply not going to grant vouchers. In fact, this round of budget cuts that we have seen from the government, it caused many housing authorities to close. I told you guys the difficulty level is at about 30% more than normal, and it'll continue to rise if we continue to have cuts and other major shitstorms that are happening basically when it comes to all these budget cuts across the board. I'm not asking for anybody to agree or disagree, and we're certainly not going to use this video as a political platform. I could care less about that stuff, but I think that we need to take our dose of reality. If you can't handle the truth, then you're in the wrong channel. You go down to Bob's and Dave's, a fidget spinner channel, and they'll lie to you, okay, and let you know whatever bullshit you want to hear. I'm not going to do that after 26 years. I'm a consultant. You can hate me for what I say or dislike it, but I'm not going to make videos about bullshit just to make people feel good. These are tough times. We need to be able to address that adversity. If you're unable to do it, then you need to reconsider being grown. You're not ready for the real world just yet. And I bring that up because many people are too sensitive, and we need to desensitize. We need to grow up, and we need to be able to handle real life. Moving on from there, Robert Foley, thanks for the updates and information. You're most welcome, and thank you for joining the channel today. Look, guys, if you like the updates, you want it, straight to the point, do subscribe. I rarely recommend doing that on any channel, including my own. I just don't like begging people to join, but it's the only way you're going to get the notifications for the videos, okay? So let's be upfront, and let's be honest. Kristen Getting, animals are great, and also the family. Well, of course, my animals are my family. When Mom left us 2 months ago and she passed away, we have a super focus in the home and in our office on cats. So, and just so you guys know, they cost just as much as real children. I spend anywhere from $10K or more, and this is only having 7 cats. If y'all met me and were on this channel approximately 4 years ago, I had 33 of them. Okay, many of my cats are disabled. Some of them have spina bifida. Some have no tails. I take a lot of hard luck cases, kind of like I do with Section 8 consulting. We take on some of the most difficult cases, including people with deep mental health issues. But you know what? If people who have serious problems did not have serious representation and the ability to have somebody care about their circumstance despite their setback, then they would be lost in the system. Okay. So that's what I do. I take on what nobody else really wants to take on. Everybody likes the easy, friendly way. Well, I like taking troublesome cases. Amused Heroes, I'm looking forward to making an appointment with you. Hey, hell, I'm looking forward to talking to you. It's been really, really good getting back and seeing a lot of your faces and many of my old members and new perspectives. This is what brings pride and joy to my life, is being able to help you guys beat the system. If we're going to play the game, guys, I want to keep this in mind. Many of you don't view this as a game, but doing this 26 years, I can tell you it's a game. If you're going to play the game, at least play to win. I'm not asking anybody to lie, cheat, or steal. I'm just saying that if we look at federal code, policies, and procedures, and there are gaping loopholes, walk them through them. Walk them through them until Congress wants the whole session and close that loophole, or the housing authorities that made the mistakes want to change them. That means we have a right to absolutely use that to absolution. All right, moving on from there, Outpacer Paste. Well, that's an interesting name. You must have been having a hell of a morning when you came up with that YouTube name. Hey, Section 8 brother, can you read my next message in this chat? I don't see your next message. Do keep in mind, YouTube has a wonderful algorithm with no effect of my own, no hands on the keyboard. If you say or use certain words they don't like, and I don't mean profanity or like, I had one person's comment was blocked because they used the word stool. We were discussing a bar stool, but in YouTube algorithms' mind, we were talking about human stools, right? It makes no distinction. So it's a stupid algorithm. Sometimes it will subtract comments. All I can say is if your previous comment does not show up, just rephrase it a bit, and I'm sure the algorithm won't pick it up, okay? Well, guys, join us this afternoon. We're going to do VI/SPDAT. We're going to do the real thing. We're going to take the assessment, and I'm going to walk you through all the different traps that they set in place for this. And then hopefully some of you can run out there and get us. Oh, excuse me. That's what happens when you're human. Some things happen occasionally. And it seems like I belched in my own video. Good thing I own the channel. That means I can do what I want. All right. So this afternoon, we're going to go all the way to the test. I'm going to explain everything. I'm going to show you where the traps are set, how to get around them, how to deal with hostile workers that are going to assess you, and how to kind of tiptoe through the system without having to wait a lifetime to get this emergency housing voucher. Now, if you go and ethically and morally decide that you're going to cheat the hell out of the system, lie, and everything else, that is on you. I'm only going to instruct you as what's required to get you through it. I would appreciate y'all guys use this information ethically, okay, if you can. All right, so I've enjoyed talking with you guys. We'll be doing that later today. If I do figure out a way to keep the video will be pre-recorded, but it may have a way to get around and be able to chat with you guys. We'll see what happens. So you'll join us today around between 4 and 5 p.m. Central Standard Texas time, or Illinois time, as you wish. And we'll go through that. And then we're going to continue this educational video series. So this was video 3 of about 100. And we'll be doing it tonight for Espadette, and then join us again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. as we address more of the system. We got a long ways to go, guys. All right. Bye for now.